Okay, welcome to week 7, day 1. Now, I recommend, especially for this one, that you go ahead and print the PDF or have a notebook and pen open, because I'm going to give you some time, or, just pause it, write it down, and then keep going through this video, okay? So go through it. Let me make this bigger. I keep forgetting. Everybody keeps asking me to do that, and I haven't really been doing that. I'm going to add this way because I'm, in the little corner. All right, cool. So, money mindset. A lot of people that come to me, their main two objections to go into a Line Action Academy, for example, is I don't have the time and I don't have the money, right? And I tend to handle that by saying you have lifetime access, right? I don't have the time, you have lifetime access. You can do the 8-week program exactly as it's built during the group coaching. You can be a part of any live Q&As. I'll go through any days with you, right? And I do that for a reason, because I know that these are objections. When it comes to I don't have the money, I offer different payment plans. If you can't get, the whatever price you're paying at, I'm probably going to do the $777 price for Line Action Academy. So let's say if you're going to get a Line Action Academy for $777, then what if you can't pay the full $777 right now? Then let's do a payment plan of $50 a week, or bi-weekly, or monthly. I've had people give me, $100 whenever they can, whatever you've got, so that money is not an issue, right? I even have someone that's been, and this is my favorite case, that she's paying $15 a month. $15, right? And she may give me more money along the way so it can be faster, but at least it's something, right? And she's working towards her goals and knows that this is something that she wants. So I don't have the money is eliminated. And then we switch to how can I have the money, right? So I want you to think about that now. So think about something in your life, whether it was a Line Action Academy and we created that payment plan for you, or maybe it was something like you wanted a purse, or you wanted to go traveling, or you wanted to start a business, or whatever it is that you wanted, that you're like, I don't have the money. And a lot of girls will probably be like, oh my God, I said that this week, right? So use that example and put that down here. It doesn't have to be specific to the AAA program. Just put, how can I have the money for X, Y, and Z, okay? Pause it, go ahead and do that. Now, if you're back, that means you've already finished this little area. And the next thing is, you're going to fill in the blank and you're going to answer really quickly. You're not going to think about it. Money is blank, okay? I don't want you to sit here and pause it and be like, what is money? No, I want you to literally be like, money is blank, boom, whatever comes to your head. Now, a lot of people will be like, money is the root of all evil. Money doesn't grow on trees. Money is, costly. Money is effective. Money is necessary. Money is happiness. Whatever you came up with, just know that it's not wrong, okay? It's not. Now, we all have our two, bad and right, or whatever it is, wrong and right, but don't worry about that here, all right? Whatever it is that you wrote, it's true for you at the moment. And remember that, I think if I remember correctly, it was week 5, I gave you a limiting belief worksheet, or a stress belief worksheet, and a peaceful belief worksheet. You can go back and work on this similar to what we did with the time one, okay? But we are going to go a little bit through it today, and then you can do it at the end of this, okay? So don't worry about it. Now, what I believe is money is green paper. And it's not really something I believe, because if you really think about it, we all have these stories on money. But what happened, the truth, the fact, is that money is green paper. That is a fact. If you want to hold money, it's literally green paper, literally from a tree, right? So money isn't the problem. It's our relationship with money that is. It can bring us stress or happiness, abundance or scarcity. Now, I want to talk about something. Why am I talking about money mindset when I did mention in the introduction that we're going to talk about money? Why is this in the breakthrough week 7? Because if you don't have a breakthrough when it comes to money, if for whatever reason you don't have the best mindset when it comes to money, you're not going to be getting it. And one of the main things that we want when you have an idea is to think about the money that's going to come in. A lot of females in general, and I'm a female, so this is definitely part of my story, is when I first started my business, I was giving out free coaching calls. I was giving out things for pennies to the dollar versus what I truly felt I was worth, right? My hours now are worth $400 an hour, right? And I would have never, years ago, would have been like, oh my God, I can't do that. That's crazy. I'm not that special. I'm not good enough, right? And we have all these beliefs, especially about money. When money comes into the scenario, we go crazy. I don't know what it is. If it's society, the patriarchal, I don't care what it is. I just know that it's a fact, right? So I want to break that, especially now when we're hitting that breakthrough, whether you've got your first client and you're like, oh my God, like I didn't charge them as much as I should. Or maybe you are thinking like, oh, I want to charge for $100 an hour too, right? And you're like, oh my God, but I don't know how, I'm not worthy, whatever it is. All these beliefs come from us believing that money equals something greater, and it's not. So work with me. We're going to have a breakthrough in our breakthrough week, okay? So true or false, and I want you to go through these, and this is why I asked you to print it out or get a notebook, because I want you to check these off if you believe any of these. And there's nothing wrong, again, with believing these. Trust me, you will not be the only one. If the females in our group share, and our members share in our Facebook group, it's going to be insane in the membrane, okay? True or false? Wealthy people are usually unhappy. Just check it off. Money tends to corrupt people. True or false? I worry that if I have too much money, I will have too many responsibilities. True or false? Now I'm going to pause for a second, because if you are literally pausing the video, answering, or taking time being like, wealthy people are usually unhappy, is that true? And you're like going really into it, you're not, you have to listen to your subconscious, right? If your subconscious says true, then even if like you think about it and you're like, well, probably not, listen to your subconscious, because we want to know what's happening in here so that we can bring it out into the world, okay? Law of Attraction 101 here. I'm going to keep going. Money is meant to be spent. True or false? If I had a lot of money, it would be hard for me to trust what people want from me. True or false? Money is the root of all evil. True or false? I'm just not good with money. True or false? Money is not that important. It's only money. True or false? It's selfish to have a lot of money. True or false? I don't deserve a lot of money when others have less than I do. True or false? Now, these are some examples. You may have your own idea, but these are like market research survey questions. I asked people what they felt about money, and these are actually some that I got pretty often. So giving you a heads up, you're not the only one if you did put true in any of these. And the first thing I put down on the next page is if you answered true to any of these, it's time to change your relationship with money. Oh, I put time, I meant money, but I'll change that later. So similar to what we did with the time management in week 5, we're going to do something similar with money. So we're going to imagine money is a person. And then you're going to figure out what's your relationship with money. And think of money as a name now versus like cha-ching, right? So is your relationship with money healthy, unhealthy, or is it toxic? Are you having like, I wish I had money on me right now, but it's over there. If you are having a moment of like, I want you, but I don't want you. I want you, but I don't want you. And you're having a whole novella with money, then that's probably not the best relationship. Make sense? Now, do you have boundaries with money? And do you have boundaries in the relationship with money? Are you being like, I'm going to save 10%. I'm going to give 10% to charity. I'm going to only allow 50% of my money to go to bills and the rest of the figure, whatever it is, right? Do you have boundaries with how much you can spend and whatever it is? If you don't, and you're going frivolously around the world, then maybe you should think about that. What are your rules in this relationship? Do you have, and it's similar to the 10%, what 15%, 20%, where are you spending them? What are your rules when it comes to money, and how much do you believe that you deserve, right? Are you being too needy with money? Are you trying to hold it all together and you don't want to spend it? And you're like, oh my God, I can't, I need to put it on my savings account. I need to invest all of this. I'm afraid to spend it. Are you being mean to money? Are you kind of like, without realizing it, you're kind of pushing money away? You're like, oh, money doesn't mean anything. Like, a lot of my hippie girls will do this a lot. They'll be like, oh, money doesn't mean anything. Money doesn't mean anything to me. Like, nobody needs money. Like, it's just this governmental political thing. Like, if you're like that, then think about that too. What are the consequences of that? Are you treating money with respect, right? If you were in a relationship with somebody, if someone was disrespectful to you, you'd be like angry and you probably wouldn't want to hang out with them. So does money want to hang out with you? Are you being disrespectful to it? Are you spending it frivolously? Are you putting it all together and when you take out your money, it looks like a crumbled mess? Or is it like nice and neat within your wallet, right? Are you making excuses on why you can't hang out with money? Are you being like, well, I'm not worth it, or, I just don't have the time. I don't have the best job right now. And I'm too busy to have a side hustle, right? All these little things that are happening, this is your relationship with money that you're creating consistently, right? I love my family a lot. And I just know that a good portion of my family, I have two sides, right? And we're going to go through this too. I have a good portion of my family that is always being like, I'm broke, I can't do that. That's just their mind. Like it's in their like generation DNA. I don't know, but it drives me up a wall, right? And I was part of that for a very long time. And I used to go out and money, like if I went to a restaurant that was like one meal was over $20 per person, I'd have a small heart attack. Like, oh my God, I can't pay for this. Oh my God, I'm broke. Like that used to be my thought, right? Now I spend $20-$40 easily on a piece of plate for me, even if it's a little bit less or a smaller plate, whatever. It's about the environment. It's about the people. It's about all these things. You're not just paying for the food, right? You're paying for the experience. So things like I had to change that little by little. I used to literally like struggle. I used to think I couldn't pay for organic foods because I was just too broke, right? And it costed so much more to eat organic and healthy than eating bad. And that was an excuse for me, right? I ended up realizing through time that organic, I actually spend a little less than I would normally if you're doing it correctly. And if you're, it's true. So figure out what works for you and figure out maybe if it's a belief system versus a fact, right? And that's something I say over and over again throughout AAA program. And I'm sure you've heard it 1,000 times, but it's just truth. And if you get that one thing from this course, it'll be worth it, right? So think about it. Is it a fact or is it a belief system? Okay. And go ahead and write it down here. Now, we're going to do something called the Wheel of Money. Now, if you remember in week 1, we did the Wheel of Life, right? Now we're going to do something called the Wheel of Money, and it's going to be something very similar. Again, I recommend printing this out or going ahead and putting this together on a notebook page or whatever. Or you can, I still recommend at least doing the circle. You'll see why in a few seconds. But it's one of my things that I like doing. Okay, so this one has a few more. And what I did for this one, if you want to go through the video, you can pause it or skip ahead and just read through this because that's pretty much what I'm about to do. Okay, we're going to do spending first. Now, this isn't from 1 to 10, like how much, this one's like how much are you spending, how much income are you getting, what's your debt from 0 to 10, right? And we're going to go through this. Spending is how is your spending. 10 is you spend a good amount, not overspending, not being too greedy. 1 is super greedy and all money runs through your fingers, right? So 10 is good. 10 is like you're really good with saving and spending, like you're doing a good balance. You're not being too greedy. You're not spending all of it and having nothing for the future or your savings account, okay? Income. How satisfied are you with the current income coming in? Okay, so 10 means lots of abundance. You have no worries. This is like a really easy chapter or video for you. 5 is it's okay. And 0 is you're very unhappy with the income that you're making or you're not making any. Okay. Debt. 0 is tremendous amounts of debt. If you're over like 50,000, that's probably where I'd put you, right? And 10 is none at all. Like you have no debt whatsoever, no credit cards, no nothing. Okay. Completely zip. Okay. Savings. Are you saving 10% of your income? 10, that's a 10. If you're saving 10% of your income, that's a 10. If you're saving 5%, that's a 5. If you're saving 0, that's a 0. If you're saving more than 10%, then just put a 10 for now. Okay. Clear financial goals. How clear are you with your financial goals? Do you write them down? Do you write out why you want to create more money? What are you going to do with that money? Write it literally. If you haven't done this, and you like, please put from 0 to 10 what it is. 10 is super duper clear and specific with SMART goals, and 0 is no goals at all. And if you put close to a 0, I actually recommend pausing this video and answering those questions really quickly, right? Do you write out why you want to create more money? Do that now. Write down, why do you want to create more money? Why are you going to do, what are you going to do with that money, right? Literally, write it down right now. And then when you press play again, we'll continue. Financial education. How educated are you with your finances? Are you understanding retirements, 401ks, investments, stocks, bonds? Do you have a budget, right? And even if you like decide that you don't want to have a 401k or you don't want to have retirement, know why. Don't just follow somebody else's or because someone said so or your family said so or your husband said so or your what. It doesn't matter. Figure out for you. And I recently realized this specifically when buying a car. My dad is like a huge Nissan fan. My boyfriend's like a huge Toyota fan and a Tesla fan. And he's like, oh my God, your Nissan sucks. I honestly don't know anything about cars. So I started asking and doing surveys around people that I knew that did know cars. And I asked them what cars they think is best. And a lot of them say Toyota. And I didn't know that. So now I'm stuck with a Nissan for now, right? So notice your financial education and don't just take one person's word for it. Go around and learn for yourself and what you think is best for you, okay? Maybe you want to invest for money or stocks or bonds. Worst case scenario, you know, a few more definitions, right? Even if you decide to not do any of them. But bonds are pretty good, especially for kids, right? Stocks are really good. So even if you have, like, I have Stash, which is an app on their phone that works really well with investments and stocks and bonds, right? So maybe something as simple as that, but start somewhere. Maybe even get into Forex, right? Record keeping. How are your records? Do you have files, receipts saved? Do you have QuickBooks? Is your IRA on point? What's happening there from 0 to 10? Abundant mindset. Are you thinking with abundance or scarcity? So this one is probably going to be specific to like the true or false questions we had earlier, or what you thought money was, and what you think of it now, right? Personal relationship. Can you talk openly and freely about your money? Can you happily be like, I make X amount per month. So right now I'm making between $5,000 to $8,000 per month, and my focus is getting over $10,000 per month. I'm creating a subscription box to make it happen. Like, I'm super excited about it. That's where I'm right now from working from home, right? And where are you? If you can talk openly about it with no issues, you're not like, oh my God, what are they going to think about me? Like, oh my God, then you're good. That's a 10, right? If you're like, oh my God, I could never talk about money, especially to like my coworkers, or I can't tell them how much I'm making per hour or yearly or whatever, I'm hiding that from my husband. That's a slight dilemma, okay? Retirement plan. Can you retire at blank age? And I put blank age because you get to decide. My retirement plan ends at 40. Like, I want to retire at 40. Like, I want to decide if I want to work or not without needing to work at that point, right? And I probably will continue my retreats and all my Facebook Lives and blah, 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 but it's my choice versus like having to do it weekly and feeling like it's a have to, it's a get to, right? And are you good to go? So retirement plan, by 40, my goal is to like be good to go monthly for a very long time, right? And not have to worry about working or doing another retreat. I'm going to be doing it for the heck of it because I want to, versus I have to make X amount of money to pay my bills. Make sense? So this depends on you. This is my wheel of money, and I gave you examples. You're going to do the 0 to 10 for each one of these. You're going to go through it. And then it's going to be similar questions to what we went through when it comes to the wheel of life, right? You're going to answer these questions again. What is one area that if you were to focus on improving, everything else would be more balanced, right? So which one was it? Spending, income, clear financial goals, financial education, yada, yada, yada. What is the price you're paying by not focusing on the one area that you're lacking in? What do you need to shift or change to get it to an 8 or a 9? What would it look like if you were honoring that value at a 10? What 3 commitments do you want to make to increase the balance of your wheel of money? Okay, so maybe if you sucked at financial education, maybe it's just learning what 401ks, investments, and stocks are. If you don't have an abundant mindset, then maybe you should do some more money mindset work. If you cannot talk about personal relationship with money, then maybe you should talk to somebody about it. Literally, just open your mouth and see what happens. Create 3 commitments with like your lowest things, your spending, your income, your debt, and start figuring out how you can handle that for the long run, okay? I'm going to take a cup of tea here. Okay, financial education. So we gave you the wheel of money, you know where you are. If you're stuck and you don't know what 3 commitments to do, or if you want more help and deciding like, okay, what do? I'm going to give you some things that I love to do that I've learned specifically and that have helped me a lot, okay? So first off, you got to know what you spend. The first thing I recommend to anyone when they're like lost with money is to get a journal, and you're literally gonna have a money journal, and every penny that you spend, you're gonna write it down. Okay. Now, this is one example that you can do. Some of my other girls like to have like a little, I'm forgetting this word right now, kind of like a wallet where you have specific amount of money, like green, literally the green paper, no cards for a while, and just practicing having like, all right, well, here's, I have 40 bucks in books. I have 100 bucks in shopping. I have whatever it is, and you figure out exactly how much you have. And then when you're done with that, like that's it. You can't get any more, whatever. Make sense? I always recommend putting a little bit more in food than other things. Food's a little important. You kind of need that, right? Create a clear financial goal. So like I mentioned earlier, if you felt like you didn't have a financial goal, I asked you to pause it and to move forward with this because that's huge, right? And you can look up SMART goals and figure out like specific, measurable, actionable, whatever else it is, reliable, and timing. Figure out what financial goals you want to create for yourself. Like for me, I had $26,000 in debt starting of January 2019, and I have $7K left. So I'm focusing a good portion of my money, like a really good portion of it, into paying off all my debt. Makes sense? So I'm almost done. I should be able to finish by the end of December. I'm hopefully going to do it earlier, but I did put my goal maximum December so that I can start 2020 with like a clear state. That's my financial goal, right? And I'm also putting money into investments, and I've already saved like $7,000 as well. So like I'm on point here, right? I'm having things ready to go so that I can move out. I can literally like travel the world if I wanted to. I can not have to worry about my debt anymore. These are my financial goals. So be clear on what yours are. Stick to a budget. Okay, especially for my newbies that are not new to this, I recommend getting Mint. I like all the other stuff. Oh, the envelope. That's what I was trying to mention. The envelope with like 40 bucks for books, 100 bucks for shopping, and having different envelopes. That helps a lot of people. Now, I personally like Mint. Mint is an app that you can get on your phone and on your computer or laptop or whatever. And it's really good for me. Like it takes 5-10 minutes to set up, and you end up creating like literally you decide, okay, I want to spend X amount on this, this, and this. It tells you how much you've spent in the past, so you can make it work. And it's really good. I really like it a lot. It keeps me on task. Okay. Decide to change the name budget to self-love money or fun money. Now, a lot of people may have not the best definition of budget or not the best like history or emotional value to budget, the word budget. So maybe you want to switch it to self-love money so that you make sure that you pay yourself first, or fun money so that you always make sure, like I end up using 20%, and we'll talk about this soon, where I use 20% of my income is only for fun, right? So I make sure everything else is on task and on point so I can have fun with it. Find a checking account that pays good interest. So a lot of checking accounts like Chase, Discover, Wells Fargo, all these places, Banks of America, all these like very fancy places that everyone has, even though they're great because they have tons of ATMs all over the place, they don't have the best interest in their checking account or in their savings accounts. So I gave you some names here like E-Trade Max Rate, HSBC Payment Account, some savings accounts are Barclays, Goldman, and Discover. Why not just look them up and see the different interest rates, right, that you can get higher so that if you leave money in them, you make more money and money's making money, right? And that's the goal. The goal isn't for just to always switch time for money, but for money to make money. Make sense? Okay, look it up. Trust me. Take a moment. It's really good. Automate transfers from checking to savings. Okay, so normally when I get an income in, like let's say one of you girls paid a Light in Action Academy for the 777, right? I automatically have 10%. I actually have 20% happening right now. I move 20% automatically. Like I do nothing. It's already in the system. It happens every single time. 20% moves from my checking to my savings automatically in like 2 seconds flat. So I cannot use that money. That is not part of my budgeting plan. Make sense? So if you're making, I don't know, $3,000, then know that 10% is going to go to your savings. That's $300 a month that you're going to put into your savings account. Okay. Now through time, if you have a good savings account that pays good interest, you're going to be making more money, right? So that's the idea. Okay. Know and correct your credit report. I use something called Credit Karma. It's like my favorite app for checking my credit. It's completely free and it lets you know what's happening with your credit. It lets you know what areas are you lacking in, and it gives you some ideas. I don't really like the ideas, but Google some more, and again, follow your heart, what you think is right, so that you can fix your credit. I know a lot of people, and this is a money mindset, right? People are going to be like, oh, credit's not important. Like, I'm going to do everything with cash. I'm going to be rich one day and all this stuff. That's great. Still have credit, okay? You can still have that thought process and still have good credit, because credit is going to help you in the long run to save more money, even if whatever it is. And it's good integrity, and it, you know, it declutters your life. It's something that you don't have to worry about. So just do it, okay? Start and keep investing. So I put some more, I gave you checking accounts, I gave you savings accounts, and I'm giving you investings, right? Investings, again, I said I use Stash. I've used all of these at some point. I personally like Stash the most. Acorns, another one that people really like. I think Stash is a good mix of Acorns and, you know, other stuff. So I'd recommend checking out Stash first. It's my favorite. You can automate the process as well. So every time I pay something, let's say if it's like $9.99, 1 cent, so it'll bump it up to like the next dollar, will go into my Stash account. Acorns does the exact same thing. Or another thing that you could do is you can literally like bi-weekly, whenever you do get your paycheck or whatever, you can always automate the fact that you're going to get a specific amount of Stash money into it, okay? And then create an emergency fund. So your emergency fund should be 3 to 6 months of your bills should be in a fund just in case something happens. If you have a job right now, if you have a 9 to 5, know that stuff happens and that you may end up getting laid away, or you don't want that, but I'm saying it's totally possible. Like, no job is safe. Even businesses, right? A lot of times during like summertime, a lot of people won't want to do coaching because it's more playtime, right? So little things like that, you need to be aware that you need to be good, right? I told you I'm making between 5K to 8K per month, but what if something drops? What if my clients decide to not pay me a month or something happens? You never know. So you want to be prepared for whatever happens. PayPal may fail me, right? My Facebook may disappear, whatever it is. I always recommend having like a plan B, okay? So which ones from the financial education I just gave you, which ones can you include in your life, and which ones will make the biggest difference financially for you, okay? Figure it out. I'm going to give you some more things as well. Extra money tips. These, I'm getting a little bit more specific, right? So for emergency fund, I mentioned 3 to 6 months. So I put it here, save $1,000 plus in your emergency fund and have 3 to 6 months of expenses in savings. It's the same thing, in my opinion, emergency fund and savings. I don't really do them separately. I do them in between. I say 1,000 plus just to start you off with a specific number, but it should be 3 to 6 months of expenses, okay? Be careful in how you explain your relationship to money to others. So I mentioned this earlier. I can't pay for that right now. I don't have enough for that. I'm broke. I can't go out. Isn't going to work for you long term. Okay. So try to figure out another way to talk about money or anything about it. Right. Well, I'm just not interested. Whatever it is. Okay. Pay slightly above your minimum payments to your debts. Okay. So if you are a debt person and you have tons of debt when you did the Wheel of Money, like me, I told you in January I had 26,000. My beautiful boyfriend has like 50,000 plus, right? Don't just pay the smallest amount. If it's like your credit card is telling you to pay $49 per month for the interest rate, don't just pay 49. Probably I would pay double, triple if possible. But if you can't do that, then just add a few extra bucks. Instead of 49, pay 55 or $60 or whatever it is. That's going to help you in the long run, so that like you can at least break it down a little bit easier and it's not as much per month. Make sense? Because if you're doing the 49 and the next month it'll probably be like 53 because you didn't pay it all, and it's going to be a whole mess. Okay. Before you pay your bills or anything else, pay yourself first. This is where I talk about the savings account where you automate it, or even Stash for that matter, something that's going to be for you in the future. You want to pay yourself first, and that's like mandatory, numero uno, money tip number 1. Okay. Your bills and monthly expenses should be at most 50% of your income. So if you're making $1,000, your bill should be less than $500. If you're making $3,000, less than $1,500. If you're making $5,000, less than $2,500 should be all of your expenses. That means bills, it means food, it means gas, it means tampons, it means whatever else is a monthly expense for you, like you know it's gonna happen monthly, okay? Food, whatever it is. Make sure 50% of your income. And then what I want you to do is I want you to look, before you talk about this one, I mentioned the 50% bills, 20% should go into fun. Divide your fun percentages by 4. So let's say, I don't know, I need a calculator. Let me get my phone out. I'm gonna do like $1,000 because that's simple. That's not gonna like give me a headache. 1,000 times 20% is $200. Hello, Jasmine. Why did I know that? Okay, so let's say for fun you have $200 divided by 4 because there's 4 months in 4 weeks in each month. It's $50. So you have $50 that you can spend weekly for fun. If for whatever reason you spend $45 one week, then you can transfer those $5 to a different week. Make sense? And this is really good. Mint is really good at that. It tells you weekly, it tells you monthly. You can create a whole plan for it. Okay. So I recommend that just so it's funner. You want to do something not just like once a month. It's actually really good if you do something like per weekend or whatever it is, because long term you want to make sure that you're having fun and this isn't something that's a burden for you. You got to do that, right? 10% savings, we talked about that. 10% paying debt, 10% long-term investments, making money, so like stash, right, that I talked about. You can do that if you're still paying debt. If you have debt paid off for, like you have no debt whatsoever, then another thing I really recommend is putting that 10% in charity, right? Or you can, if you're not a charity person, no judgment, then maybe you want to add more savings or more long-term, so you can do 15% savings, 15% long-term investments, whatever it is. If you have less bills, like if you're counting your bills and it's not 50%, let's say it's like 30%, great. You have another 20% that you can put into other things. Or maybe you want to put 5% in each one, 25% fund, 25% savings, or 15% savings, etc. So you get to decide how you want to play with it, but just keep it consistent as much as possible, okay? So which money tips will you put into practice now? Which means like you're going to end this call, you're going to end this video, and you're going to go ahead and do one of these, okay? And go ahead and put it in the Facebook page or the Facebook group so that we can go ahead and see and cheer each other on and do the whole thing, okay? Again, money mindset is really big, and so are these money tips, okay? So go ahead and be good to you. Okay, I love you, girls. Bye.